Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can tell you a little bit more about Opportunity Village. Awesome. As Ashley mentioned, I'm the Director of Program Services here, and I've been with Opportunity Village for just over 9 years now. So I'm very proud of the work that's done here, and I'm excited to share a little bit more about it with all of you this morning. So I'll start here with just a little short video of some smiling faces around OV, just to give you a little peek around what happens here at OV. I always think it's great to start off with some of the smiling faces from around here, because it's really the core of the work that we do. And so for Opportunity Village, our mission is to, we're a nonprofit organization that serves people throughout our community with intellectual disabilities. And really our charge is to enhance their lives and the lives of the families that love them. And so the people that we serve here at OV specifically, we do have youth programs that serve folks starting at 3 years of age up through age 22, which includes transition services between the ages of 18 and 22. Most of our programs are geared towards adults starting at the age of 22, which is when folks graduate from Clark County School District here and onward. We don't really have an upper age limit. We see folks of all different ages across our different programs. We do primarily serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. There is some crossover there with folks who also might have physical disabilities or mental health diagnoses, but our primary service is for intellectual and developmental diagnoses. We are primarily located in Southern Nevada, which includes Henderson, Las Vegas, and North Las Vegas communities. And a lot of our participants are also served by organizations such as Desert Regional Center, Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation, the VA, and Clark County School District as well. We currently serve over 2,000 people, close to 3,000, and we have seen over 3,000 people served prior to the pandemic. I will say that we are currently rebuilding from those years. Our primary challenge has been direct support professional hiring. So we continue to work on that and continue to bring folks back to programming every week. And then a little bit about our history. Opportunity Village has been part of the Las Vegas community since 1954. So we're almost to 70 years of service in this community. It really was started by a small group of families who had children with disabilities, and in the early 50s, weren't really pleased with the recommendations they were getting as far as the supports that were available to them. So the small group of families started a small schoolhouse. It served 27 children at the time, and that was the beginning of Opportunity Village. In 1964, they opened a retail store, which was really meant as a fundraiser to help offset the cost of the teachers, and then start fundraising for the first employment training center, which was eventually opened in 1964. In 1957, special education started getting a little bit of additional funding in Las Vegas and in Nevada. So they were really forward thinking in shifting their focus from education, since the schools were now providing those services, and thinking more about what was to happen to their loved ones after they got out of school. And so that first employment training center was opened in 1964. We still operate employment facilities and then also the thrift store to this day. Then you'll see that in 1991, we opened the Magical Forest and hosted our first event there, which has now become one of our most major fundraisers for Opportunity Village, and has become a staple, a tradition really for the holidays here in Las Vegas. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in a minute. Then in 1998 and 1999 was when we first opened Dayhabilitation. That's our Pride and Enable programs, which are currently still operational at all 4 locations. In 2005, we hosted the first Las Vegas Great Santa Run, which is another big fundraiser of ours. In 2009 and 2010, we opened our largest campus-based setting, but it also introduced fine and performing arts and culinary programs. And then in 2021, our latest service is Betty's Village. And so we opened our first inclusive residential community here in Las Vegas, and we'll be talking more about that soon as well. So we've been a part of the Las Vegas community for a long time and have a long-standing history here. Just to tell you a little bit more about the funding, we are a little bit unique in the sense that you'll see that we are about 70% self-funded, which is unique to Opportunity Village. Only about 30% of our services are offset by JDT or rehabilitation waivers. We have a pretty extensive fundraising and events structure, as well as our own business lines that employ people that help with the offset the funding for programs. So you can see here that about 50% of that funding is our own business lines, which I'll tell you more about. And then the additional piece of that is our fundraising and events, whether that's grants, donors, or our signature events that fundraise for us as well. So as far as our businesses, we have several different business lines. They, as I mentioned, help support revenue that offset the cost of our programs, but also employ people. So across all of our business lines, we serve almost 400 employees with disabilities across these business lines. We have the Assembly Authority, which is our packaging and assembly division. We still have the thrift store, which operates as a retail setting. We have the Print Pals, which is mass mailing, buttons, and brochures, printing, things of those sorts. We have the Paper Pros, which is our media management division, scanning, shredding, file conversions. Dusty's Table is our culinary program. It's actually a cookie business line where we sell a variety of different cookies that are served in local casino buffets and at convenience stores and for catering companies. And OV Cleans, which is our service contracts, primarily janitorial and floor care. And then as far as our fundraisers, we have Halloween and Vegas Fright Nights. We operate the Magical Forest during October, kind of make it fun and spooky. And we also operate 2 haunted houses, and which are supported by local volunteers, and tickets to those events help fundraise for the organization. Camelot is our annual Black Tie Gala standard fundraiser for the year. The Las Vegas Great Santa Run, as I mentioned, has been a pretty big staple in the Las Vegas community. It's down on Fremont Street, and it's a gathering of thousands and thousands of Santas who do a 5K race and enjoy some fun down on Fremont Street. And then the Magical Forest, which is our holiday season. It's basically a small amusement park. We've got carnival games and rides and concessions. The Magical Forest is one of our larger fundraisers, typically brings in a little over $1 million. It's primarily operated by volunteers, and then all of the admissions, concessions, and ride tickets go back to support programs. And so all of that funding goes to the good work that happens in our programs. We do have a wide range of programs that we offer. We have 4 locations here in Las Vegas that are home bases for these programs. So we have one in North Las Vegas, Henderson, Central, which is our Oakey campus, which is attached to the Magical Forest, and then on the west side here in Engelstad, where I'm located myself. So the first program is our rehabilitation programs. PRIDE stands for People's Right to Independence, Dignity, and Equality. And this is a program for us that really supports people who need the highest levels of care. So we do have nurses that are in this program, both RNs and LPNs, to help support things like G-tube feedings, medication administration, and staffing in these programs are typically 1-to-1. In our Enable program, folks are working on skills for independence and daily living. There's a heavy emphasis on community engagement and real world learning. So for both of these programs, we do a lot of community engagement, We have the benefit here in Las Vegas of the Mobility Training Center, which is actually an extension of our paratransit and our fixed route services, where we can actually go and practice use of fixed route and practice use of paratransit services, which increases independence. We also have great community connections with the YMCA, local gyms and libraries, so that folks can really get acclimated to the amenities in their communities, and then are more likely to access those amenities when they're not just at Opportunity Village. The Enable program serves folks typically at a support level of 2-to-1 or 5-to-1 person served to staff. And then in our pre-vocational programs, we do have our standard pre-voc program, which is a longer term engagement and paid training. This was previously a 14C program, and we did transition away from that in 2021. For us, as much as we value 14C and wish there was a way forward, the legislature in our state was moving away, and we were seeing the writing on the wall and wanted to get ahead of those changes. So we did shift away from that model. We were really intentional about preserving access to those activities and those wages. So we did just make a shift to kind of the schedule of the day. So folks are still engaged in those paid training opportunities at minimum wage, and spend additional time in their day working on more of those hard and soft skills related to eventual community employment. After pre-vocational, there's programs like Entry. Right now that operates at a car dealership in town, Fletcher Jones, and that's a 6 to 12 month paid training. They get access to a variety of areas of the business, and they get that 6 to 12 month time period to really learn depth of skill in those areas, so that they can progress towards something that's a little bit shorter and more intensive. You'll kind of see as I walk through all of our program areas, while we have a lot of them, we really are trying to create a continuum of options for folks to move through, or have various access points to meet the needs of folks where they're at. After Entry, there's Pathway to Work. And Pathway to Work is a shorter term, more intensive job training program. It typically operates 3 to 6 months in length, and they go through a variety of different work experiences. We have placements at the Rio, which is a casino here. We have placements at Get Fresh, which is a food service agency. And so they get to do that real world experience in various areas of those businesses, and then also take some classroom time to work on some more skill building in those areas. So oftentimes you'll see folks move between these areas, maybe starting in pre-vocational, then moving into Entry and on to Pathway. When we move into employment services, we have assessments. So assessments are in partnership with Bureau of Vocational Rehab and the VA. We offer paid training wages while folks are assessed in different work environments. They get that choice up front. Sometimes it's a culinary placement, administrative placement, could be more within custodial, or really an area that they're most interested in. And those assessments last between 5 days and up to 6 months, depending on the placement, to help really assess and sign off on the display of skills before community employment. We do have a job development team, and our job developers really steward folks through the entire process of community employment. That can be from job searching to filling out applications, interviewing, and then even onboarding after a job is given to a person. And so they're there to provide support all the way through. And then once someone is actually placed in employment, we offer follow-along services. And so those are granted as a bank of hours, depending on the need. And when someone's placed into employment, our job coaches check in with them and the team to just help continue to make sure that they're successful in that role. So if they need to provide any additional training, if they need to work on any accommodations within the role, they're really just there to touch base and make sure things are running smoothly. And then while we primarily serve adults, we do have some youth services. We do offer ATAP, which is ABA services for youth with autism. It's partnership with Medicaid. So it's really to be offered to folks who are unable to afford private pay or private insurance autism therapies. That's under the supervision of a BCBA with services provided by registered behavior technicians, or RBTs. We have the Job Discovery Program. This is really a partnership with our local school district, Clark County School District, and it's for transition age youth between 18 to 22. They rotate through 9-week placements so that when they graduate from high school, they have experience on a resume and they have a better idea of what they want to pursue once they graduate. And so for a lot of our JDP participants, it's a direct funnel to job development. They go straight from that program to being placed in community employment. And then we do have very important arts. This is a youth arts program, serves children ages 3 all the way up to 22. And this is where we send mentors from our fine and performing arts program into special education classrooms in Clark County to provide respite for teachers, to expose and engage the arts to children, and just provide that creative expression in the classroom. So across all these programs, as I mentioned, between the employment services and programs, we currently serve just over 2,600, but we typically serve just over 3,000 people across these programs. And so just to tell you a little bit about a person who has experience in, a real case study in expansion of their skill building and the things that they became involved in over time. Ignacia is someone who came to us as a person served right after high school and was really looking for some guidance in her next steps. So she originally started in our pre-vocational program, and through pre-vocational program became interested in engaging more of the fine and performing arts. Through fine and performing arts, she participated in dance, music, and theater, and we saw her really grow some confidence and finding her voice. And so Ignacia expressed some interest in becoming more skilled in the area of public speaking and pursuing education in translative services. She's also a Spanish speaker. And so through her time at Opportunity Village, starting in pre-vocational and then moving through fine and performing arts, building that confidence, she applied and got an ambassador position, which for Opportunity Village is a paid public speaking role for people to share their experiences as people serve and share their experiences as people with disabilities in their community. And while she was an ambassador, she began some public speaking engagements, and we really saw her blossom in sharing her experience and her story. And she began taking classes at the local university for international studies to become a translator. And over the course of the last 6 years, has graduated with her associate's degree and currently works as a translator part-time, and then continues some ambassador work for Opportunity Village, primarily with our sales team. So sharing the mission of Opportunity Village with the team that's going to secure business for those business lines. So it's been really neat to see someone who's come in as kind of a shy high school student, unsure of their future, to someone who's really found their voice and has really carved a really unique and exciting path for themselves through use of those programs. Now, outside of just the programs, we have a variety of supports that are also available that help both within the programs and for folks who are employed as well. So for coordination, we do have our own internal case management team that helps serve as a liaison between state service coordinators, the PCP teams, families, guardians, and the people who are receiving services. So they're really there to make sure that, the goals and plans are in place and that things are being followed and that growth is happening accordingly. We offer that to all people served. We also have a family advocacy department who works directly with families to connect them to resources in the community. So whether that's assistance with finding, a primary care physician, or assistance with finding recreational services, or really whatever they might need, our family advocacy department works directly with families to help make those connections. And then we also have intake and transition coordinators who really help with that growth and movement. So they are always looking for places for people to plug in, whether that's someone who's currently in pre-vocational and has expressed interest in a community employment, so they can help find those roles, or someone who's working in more of a supported employment position who's looking to make a move into community employment. So we have those team members who are directly dedicated to facilitating and finding opportunities for that movement. We also have teams that help us with content. So we have an entire fine and performing arts department that offers information on dance, music, theater, and visual art. It assists with both rehabilitation and pre-vocational programming. Rehabilitation programming is really focused on that engagement and exposure. The pre-vocational content really operates as an entrepreneurship program. So people who participate in the arts sell their work for 50% goes back to the program for supplies and staffing, and the other half goes to the artists as paychecks. They also provide content to all of our other program areas and just offer skilled mentorship in those areas. We also partner with AmeriCorps to have a core of education specialists who help provide those hard and soft skill pre-vocational trainings. So it's helped us really separate care and content for direct support professionals. We've noticed a challenge for us sometimes is those are two very different tasks that require different sets of strengths. And so by having cores of folks who are really dedicated to the content and what people are involved in, it helps free up our direct support professionals to be focused on care as well. And then we have our care team. We do have registered nurses, both RNs and LPNs, that help provide medical support. They primarily are housed in Pride because that's where our highest medical needs are located. However, they do provide support and guidance and assistance with medication administration for all of our other programs. And even during the COVID pandemic, assisted with a lot of testing as well. And then we do have behavioral services that we can use both internally and externally, where we have a BCBA and RBTs who can help develop and support teams in the execution of behavioral plans. So it really helps us serve a wide variety of needs across all of our program areas by being able to leverage our kind of external, internal supports for those. And then I know I mentioned our latest project is Betty's Village. This just opened almost 2 years ago, and it's our first residential project. It's a lot different than most residential projects. We completed a large capital campaign to pay for the property and the buildings upfront so that we could keep rent affordable for the residents. And we are primarily the landlords of this facility. So we were very intentional on this project in building a facility that meets the needs of both people with and without disabilities, and so that we could create a community that had natural supports. And so we feel really successful in doing that. We have another one of these coming soon, but I'm going to show you a little video so you can see a little bit more about Betty's Village.
Welcome to Betty's Village, where adults with disabilities, and some without, enjoy the intentional accessibility of the community with one-way paths, color-coded homes, and special features that make living independently a reality for adults who never thought they'd be able to live alone. With a dedicated staff, security, and a clubhouse that serves as the community hub, residents can find friendship, camaraderie, and confidence here at Betty's Village. When they want a little independence or quiet time, they can retreat to their beautifully appointed residence, built specifically with their needs in mind. This is Betty's Village. This is the answer of who will take care of my loved one when I'm no longer able to. Because everyone deserves a safe, fun, and happy life.
So yeah, Betty's Village has 70 units, 80 beds, and is a truly inclusive community. There's both people with and without disabilities that live there. And we have found that by creating affordable housing that's of quality with quality amenities. It really meets the needs of a lot of different populations, young families, seniors, retired veterans. And so it's become this really lovely community that has created this network of natural supports. So if you go there in the evenings, almost every night they do what they call a walk and roll, which is towards the end of the evening, they'll go knock on doors and most of the community will go on a walk together around the block. And you'll see folks taking rides to church together on Sundays or going to the store together during the week. It does operate independently. So there is a property management company that manages things like leases and rent. And then also people who do have services, SLA or ISLA services, bring their own providers into the community. We have what we call a concierge team. And so the services that Opportunity Village provides at Betty's Village are really surrounded by community connections and community activities. And so we have life enrichment coordinators that help provide community activities in the clubhouse, craft nights, game weekends, special events. And then we have that team that if someone's looking for a connection to a resource can help make those connections for them. So we always kind of describe it as the RA. They're not really, they're kind of just there to help support and make sure that you're successful in independent living. And for a lot of the people that we serve, we've seen this be their first experience living independently, which has been really cool to see. And then as far as the things that we have coming in the future, neighborhood clubs is a relatively new model. We do operate one currently. It's really a way for us to move away from some of those larger campus-based settings and infiltrate ourselves more into the community. And so we have small program cohorts that operate within strip malls, local business centers, so that they're really much closer to the amenities in their neighborhoods. This has helped us solve for a few problems. It helps us serve people closer to where they live. With some of those larger settings, folks have to travel a little bit of distance to get to services. So we wanted to move services closer to the neighborhoods where people are living and experiencing their daily life. And then it gives us more of that opportunity to help participants grow familiarity with their neighborhoods and access their community outside of just during a program day. So we operate one of these currently. We do have 2 more in progress right now. We were able to identify highest areas of need. So we have one in East Las Vegas and one that's going to be downtown Las Vegas. That's going to be near the medical district to serve individuals who have the most challenges with community inclusion because of their medical needs. So we'll be putting it closer to those supports as well. We do have another Betty's Village in progress. There's currently about a 400-person wait list for our initial Betty's Village project. So we know that there's a large need for these types of services. And so we have a second property that's in development that should be open within the next couple of years in North Las Vegas, which will include the same type of inclusive living settings, park, and then also just a community center for the North Las Vegas community. We also did just get approval for SLA services. This will give us an opportunity to be added to the array of providers that are already available, both in Betty's Village and outside. So for persons who don't live in Betty's Village but are seeking SLA services, and then they'll have an array of options as far as service providers for those supports. And then we also have expanded our transition youth program. So we will be the first PACE lab in Southern Nevada, which is part of PREETS, which is a pre-employment transition services with BVR to really target self-advocacy training, career exploration, post-secondary exploration, and workplace readiness for those youth ages 18 to 22. So lots of big things in the works. I think, it's only been out of the last year that we've really started to recover from the changes of the pandemic and kind of getting back to things as they once were. And so we're looking forward to lots of growth and new services in our future. And I think that's it. We can open it for any questions.